What is the difference between a woman who is able to stick to her diet and lose all the weight that she wanted and gain body confidence versus the ones that seem to always struggle? They can never stick to their diet, and even when they do lose weight, they regain everything and then some. Is this something that is predetermined by genetics? Is it something that you have no control over whatsoever and you're just destined to stay like this? Or is it something that you actually have complete control over, but you're just not doing the right things? We're going to explore all of these questions and more, so by the end of this video, you know the exact answer. The first things that we need to uncover is some things that are circling the internet right now, talking about how you've got a damaged metabolism and how you probably need to make sure that you're kickstarting it if you want to be burning more calories. But is this really true? No, it's not. It is total bullshit. So if you ever hear anyone that says this, one, unfollow them, maybe report them for misinformation, and just shun them from your life, all right? Because it is bullshit. You don't have a damaged metabolism. And in fact, if you weigh more now than you have done in previous years, you're burning more calories than you ever have been. Simply because the heavier you are, the more calories that your body burns every single day, because it's having to drag around more weight for the day-to-day life, the stairs that you take, the steps that you do, all this sort of stuff, right? You're lifting more weight all day, every day. So you don't have a damaged metabolism. The only reason that you'd be burning less calories now than when you were younger or even a couple years ago is that you're moving less. You're not as active and stuff. So in that case, it's not a kickstart in your metabolism, it's actually just moving more so you can burn more calories. Even if you've lost muscle, yes, that's not ideal, but muscle doesn't burn that many calories. It burns a little bit more, don't get me wrong, but it's not hundreds of calories. It could be like 20 calories a day, 50 calories a day, which is what, a lick of ice cream? Like, it's nothing, right? So it's not your metabolism that's holding you back. It's just other things that are going on right now. So first things first is, yes, your metabolism is not damaged, okay? The second thing that I'm seeing crop up time and time again is that if you're eating too little calories, you're putting your body into what's known as starvation mode. Because if you're not giving your body enough fuel, right, it's worried where it's gonna get that next meal from. If it's worried about where it's going to get that next meal from, it's going to start making sure that your body doesn't burn too much fat and too many calories because it needs to sustain life. It needs to keep you going as long as possible. And to do that, it stops you burning as much. Again, this is wank information. It's completely wrong, right? Like, it's not true. If this was true, do you think we'd have people starving in different countries? Do you think when we had prisoners of war that they were like gaining body fat? No, they were coming out stick and bones, right? They lost so much weight, they lost body fat, they lost muscle, they lost everything because they weren't eating enough. So why do you think that your body is different to that? Why do you think that your body's denying the laws of the universe, right? It's just not true. If you're not eating enough, you will lose weight. If you're not eating enough in the day, that you then end up binging and overeating in the evening, then that's why you're not losing weight. Is because you're starving yourself at some point and then overeating at a different point. So this will be the only reason that your body is gaining fat from not eating enough. It's because you're tripping yourself up into eating more and more calories at different occasions throughout the week. And that's something that you need to be fully aware of. And then the final thing to stamp out right early on in this video is you can see my face is melting talking about it anyway. It's people that are talking about if you're eating carbs, you're going to gain fat. If you're having seed oils, you're going to gain fat. Like, there's some foods that just stop you from preventing burning fat. It's not true. It literally is not true. Insulin doesn't cause fat storage. Yes, it's a storage hormone, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be storing body fat because it goes through different fluctuations throughout the day. And if we look at the weight loss drugs that are currently flooding the market, they increase your insulin levels, but we know people are losing weight with it. So we know that carbs isn't the issue. We know insulin isn't the issue. We know that seed oils isn't the issue. Sure, it might not potentially be the healthiest thing. That's another debate altogether. It's still being blown way out of proportion. But again, that's another video, right? We know that as long as you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose body fat. You will lose weight. If you're not losing weight, it's because you're not in a deficit. And that's the first thing that you need to be addressing if you want to start seeing the results that you're always after. Because when we look at it, right, When it comes down to calories, if you're burning more calories than you're eating every single day, you've created a deficit. So what your body is now doing is, because it's burning less calories than it's eating, no, that's wrong. Because you're burning more calories than you're eating, fuck that up. We're going to keep it in though. We're going to keep it in. It's funny, right? Because if you're burning more calories than you're eating every single day, right? Your body has to find those extra calories that it's been burning. Those extra calories are going to come from stored body fat. If you end up burning the same amount of calories than you're eating, you're at maintenance, right? You're at net balance. That means your weight doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, because you're burning the same amount of calories than you're eating. And then if you end up eating more food than you burn every single day, that means that you're going to gain fat, because you're burning, let's say 2,000 and you're eating 2,200. Where's those 200 calories are going to go, right? They've got to go somewhere. They've got to be stored somewhere. They don't just disappear off into the air like fairy dust. Like, the body has to store it somewhere, right? So this is the equation of calories. You can see simple from these diagrams, right, in this illustration, that this is what leads to whether you're going to gain weight, maintain weight, or lose weight, okay? So this is the first thing that we need to understand this video and move on from here. If you're someone that doesn't agree with that, then you can just get out of this video, because I'm never going to get through to you. But if you're someone that wants to learn about how you can actually get the results that you want, then this is the information you need to digest, because now we're going to get into the nitty-gritty stuff of how women are able to actually lose body fat and keep it off versus the one that don't. And this is something that we've been able to do with all of our clients, right? The reason that we get such good results, the reason that we are able to get women losing weight faster than they've ever done before, easier than they've ever done before, and without giving up foods like they've done in the past, is for this one reason: me. It's because of, no, I'm joking, it's not because of it. It is a little bit of that, but it's because of this thing that we do called a priming phase with our clients. Now, what this priming phase is when we sign up and work with a client, we don't just throw them into a diet. We don't just get them through the door and go, right, let's slash your calories. Let's get you doing 10,000 steps a day, even though you're only doing 2,000. Let's make sure that you're doing cardio 5 times a week. Like, we don't do that, because it's not sustainable. And therefore, they're not actually going to be able to stick to it. So therefore, they're not going to lose weight, right? What we do is we do this priming phase with our clients, because it allows us to understand how their body works, how it responds to nutrition, how it responds to training. Because then from there, we found out their foundations of where we need to start placing things to be able to lose fat sustainably and be able to do things without like completely transforming their life, with it being unsustainable, right? So what we do is when we get those clients in through the door, we have this assessment phase. For the first 2 weeks, we're just gathering data from what they do day to day, what their nutrition looks like, how their daily movement looks like, what their work schedule looks like, right? Because these are all key considerations of factors that we need to take into consideration to be able to put the program together, right? To be able to determine whether they can go on aggressive calorie deficit, whether they need to be on more of a sustainable and less aggressive calorie deficit, right? Because so many factors play into this. The stress levels, the amount of sleep that they get, if they've got young children at home that they're looking after all the time, right? These are all considerations for what we're going to do for their diet, their training protocols, and everything to be able to get the best results. So we're able to do that with this priming phase. So after those first 2 weeks of initial assessment, what we've been working on is finding out what their lifestyle really looks like, how they respond to their initial training program, right? If they recover well, if they know how to do the technique properly, if we need to make improvements there. Because technique is crucially important, right? If you want a more toned and defined body, you want some more slender arms, you want to see that shape to them, then we need to make sure that the training technique and intensity is in the right place too. Again, if we just throw someone into the deep end, we're not going to be able to find out that sort of stuff. So this is why that priming phase is just so crucial at this point. Then after that first 2 weeks of that assessment phase, we then start making some small tweaks. We then start making some more small changes, right? We need to build up their habits to get it into a really good place that when we go into that fat loss phase, their habits are taking care of the job for them. Because if they don't have those habits, which is the foundations of your fat loss journey, they're just going to crumble. They're just going to not be able to stick to it. They're not going to see the results that they want. And it's because they haven't primed themselves, their habits and their mindset to be able to get it. So the first thing we do is, yes, we prime their habits. By this, what I mean is making sure that they're getting their steps up to a good, healthy place, higher than it was before. We need to make sure that we're getting their protein levels up. Every woman that comes through the door, they're drastically under eating their protein. I've never had someone sign up, and I've worked with hundreds of women where I'm like, your protein's bang on, keep it going. It's never been the case. It's always under eaten. So we need to get that protein level up high too, because that protein level is going to be the thing that keeps them fuller for longer, allows them to build more muscle tissue, allows them to burn more calories every single day, because when you eat more protein, you don't take on as many as the calories because it's harder for the body to digest, right? So protein is going to be a crucial element for this, and it's going to keep them nice and full when they get to that dieting stage. Like I said, the other thing is training, right? That training habit needs to be there. If right now your training sessions are very hit and miss, it's very sporadic, it's all over the place, and you're not following a structured routine, that's not a really good habit to be able to help you lose body fat. We need to get that in a solid place. We need to make sure that you're training very hard, training consistently, logging all the weights that you're doing, all the reps that you're doing, because again, this is going to put you into a nice place for moving into that next phase of that dieting phase. And then other things that we need to work on is people's mindset. Every woman that comes through the door has failed multiple times. They've tried every diet under the sun. They've tried banning carbs. They've tried counting calories. They've tried every single which way possible to be able to lose weight, but nothing's ever worked for them. And because of this, they think of themselves as the problem. They think that it's their body that's damaged, that they're destined to stay this way forever, that it's their hormones, their genetics, whatever it is. And because of this, and because they've kind of let themselves down so many times, they just think they're incapable of change. And when you think you're incapable of change, guess what? You are incapable of change. Whereas if you're someone that strongly believes in yourself, you have a positive mindset and you're like, I will be able to do this. I know that I can do this, right? If you're thinking about how you can look in the next 5 months' time, next year's time, and you know that with the right work ethic and with doing the right things, you're going to get there, you will get there, because you'll find every opportunity possible to do so. Whereas if you're telling yourself, oh, I can't do it, I can't lose weight, I'm just destined to stay this way, my genetics hold me back, I'm never going to lose fat, I just have to accept how I'm going to look, you're not going to be open to the opportunities that are around you to be able to see that, actually I'm overeating here, I didn't understand that. There's how many calories in an avocado? There's how many calories in a teaspoon of olive oil? You're not open to these things because you already think that you're in a deficit. But when you start having your mindset shift change and you start looking for more opportunities of where you can save calories, where you can learn more, I promise this is one of the biggest changing factors for you to be able to lose weight. This is one of the biggest barriers that women come in with. It's their mindset. It's that they think that they're going to fail. So they end up failing. Because if they think that they're going to be able to pass it and be able to lose this weight, things will be drastically different. So this priming phase is to prime their habits, their body, their mindset. We're just priming you basically in your body, right? We're priming everything to get you into the right place. And once we've done that stuff, you're going to slip into that fat loss so much easier because you're ready to go. You've laid those foundations, the solid foundations, right? If you don't lay these foundations and you build your house on quicksand, it's gone. It's going to crumble. Whereas if we build a solid structure, a solid foundation, and then start building into that fat loss phase after here, those supporting foundations are going to make things so much easier, and it's going to be a more stable journey for yourself. So if you are someone that is struggling to lose body fat, you're struggling to stick to a diet, I guarantee it's because you just try and jump 2 foot into a diet without getting your nutrition right, without getting your training right, without getting your habits right, with having shit sleep, with having shit habits, and everything else that we've discussed in this video. So what I need you to do after this video is start taking some time to lay down those foundations, to take yourself through that priming phase, get it all optimized. And then from here, I promise you, you're going to find your journey so much easier. If you've enjoyed this video and you want to learn more about how to get the best results, then definitely head over and watch this video because this is going to dive into more information like this just to help you out even further.